Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
So check it out. The D6 Squad has merch now. We got hoodies, tees, mugs, whatever you need. Check it out. Link in the description. What's going on, YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. I've been thinking, and the more and more I look into this offseason, it just really makes me think more and more about this. And what are the Giants going to do this offseason when you look at the receiver position? Do we really think that the Giants are going to add all of these top premium wide receivers at once? It's kind of seeming more and more difficult to believe. It's kind of seeming like we're going to get one or the other. And I'll tell you why. If we pay Allen Robinson $26 million a year, and we have Sterling Shepard, who I think could be a number two, but he's got health issues. Kenny Golladay has health issues. Darius Slayton could be a number two. I think he can be a really good number two if we bring in a guy who really demands double coverage on a consistent basis. So if we bring him in and the coaching staff believes in Darius Slayton as a number two, and they believe in Sterling Shepard probably as a number two, as someone who can beat single coverage consistently. If you're looking at those guys, are you really going to draft a receiver with the top 15 pick? That's really made me think about this. If you're placing all of these resources as far as paying someone top dollar to be at wide receiver, are you going to then take that money and then give it to a free agent and then use that premium first round draft pick on a wide receiver? Now, me, I would love that. We literally go from probably a top 3 or 4 bottom wide receiver core in the league to probably a top 5 by adding Kenny Golladay and adding someone like Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle. We would go to literally a top 4 or 5 wide receiver room in the league. So that sounds really intriguing to me. But my question is, how many receivers do you really think that Dave Gettleman is going to bring in here that are top flight, top value kind of, receivers? And then also when you look at the depth of this receiving class, you can get some pretty solid receivers who I think day one are number 2 receivers in this draft in the 3rd and 4th round. So it's really starting to get to a point where I'm just hoping that my number one target this entire offseason has been Jamar Chase. And I just don't want to get to a situation where the Giants sign Kenny Golladay or they sign Allen Robinson or maybe they sign Chris Godwin or another receiver and they have that top 15 pick and we have Jamar Chase literally in our grasp and we trade away or we take another player. I would be sick. I would really be sick, and I don't want that to happen. So I'm really trying to figure out if Dave Gettleman is going to do it. After all the thinking that I've done, I mean, it really seems like the Giants are not going to pay top dollar for a wide receiver. It really seems like that because they're going to have a shot. I mean, I really don't see any way that Jamar Chase, Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, they're 3 great wide receivers coming out of this draft. And I just don't see any way that one of them isn't there at 11. And it just really comes down to a numbers game. Do you want to take Kenny Golladay, pay him $20 million, or pay him, maybe you can get him cheaper than that if you can, and all of this goes out of the window, do whatever you want. But pay Allen Robinson, pay him over $20 million a year. Make it a long-term commitment and, load that cap up. Do you want to pay him all that money? Or do you want to try to draft a receiver that can turn into someone like him or someone better than him? And that's really the question. Because I'm thinking that you're not going to get both. I'm thinking you'll either get a tier 2 free agent, which is Corey Davis, Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin is going to ask for a lot of money too. He's a really good receiver. He's underrated. It's going to be one of those or Curtis Samuel. And then when you look in the draft, it's going to be someone like Tamarian Tony, Tamorian Terry, I meant to say. Kadarius Toney is probably going to go a little bit before that. You're going to be looking at receivers that are getting drafted later, like maybe Amon-Ra St. Brown in the second round. I would have said Chris Olave, but he decided to go back to school. You're going to be looking at those wide receivers, not those top receivers that we've talked about. I just don't see us doing both. So either we take someone like Jamar Chase and Curtis Samuel, or we take Kenny Golladay and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Either way, we need to come away with 2 wide receivers and preferably a tight end. Preferably a tight end, and I don't want to pay any tight end in free agency. Absolutely not. I just don't want to do it. I don't see any tight end worth the money that they're going to get paid. Absolutely not. I couldn't stomach that, but I could stomach drafting one. Paying one and drafting one are 2 different things. But it's going to come down to that, guys. Do you want the big free agent wide receiver and the draft pick that's going to be a 2nd round pick or 3rd round pick or 4th round pick? Or do you want the 1st round pick, the shiny new toy, and have a tier 2 free agent or a tier 3 free agent that we don't even talk about? Which one do you want? It's tough for me. I've been a fan of Jamar Chase, but it seems like the best option for Daniel Jones would be simply just grabbing the best wide receiver that you can in free agency that's polished, that's going to be able to get open consistently, that's not going to have a learning curve because you're trying to evaluate him quickly. So let me know, what route do you think we should go? So if you made it this deep into the video, I'm calling you a D6 squad member. If you're a D6 squad member, you got to hit that subscribe button. You got to turn on that notification bell. And listen, I make all kinds of content for NFL teams. So if you're not a Giants fan, don't worry. I'll cover your team. If I'm not covering your team, let me know. And have a good one.